So the first thing first, of course, is the Belgorod offensive. As I mentioned in the SITREP, the window of opportunity to actually do a Belgorod offensive is actually over. The real time to do the Belgorod offensive, to capture Belgorod and bring the battle into Russia, was actually in the last year's counteroffensive. So the Ukrainians have wasted all the forces, the trained troops, the equipments, and the situation where the Russians were weaker because they did not have the fat bombs during those days, or they haven't bought any ammunition from North Korea or Iran, and and they were still trying to ramp up production. So that was probably the best time for the Ukrainians to actually storm with 12 brigades into Belgorod, create a defensive line, and bring the battle and create some kind of a constitutional crisis or political crisis for Putin because they are unable to defend Russia. That would be the aim. But a lot of people say no, this will expand the war and whatnot. But see what they are doing now. They are still doing it anyway, but with much weaker force. The Ukrainian military is now a lot more drained, and logistical problems, manpower problems. So this attack really comes very late. With the Russians now, all the troops are so much more well-trained right now, with total air superiority, massive airstrikes on a daily basis. It's really pretty much a waste. But as I mentioned in the SITREP, which if you didn't watch, you need to watch, because I go a lot of details into the Belgorod offensive. The Ukrainian forces launched an initial attack in the yesterday's report in the area of Velika Pizarivka. This was the first attack. We reported about this, and then in the past 24 hours, the Ukrainian forces continued to attack in the Velika Pizarivka, and then they attacked in the Popivka region, as well as in this area, what is it called, Onoropivka. So, and then there is another attack coming from the Hoptivka region towards Belgorod along the highway in this direction. And as I mentioned, this area here, the Belgorod region, was actually the site of the previous Ukrainian incursion, and I believe that the Ukrainians are using these precedents as a massive diversionary attempt to draw Russian forces into believing that this is actually the main push, that the Ukrainians are actually very simple-minded, trying to do the same thing over again and hope for a different result. But I believe that this is just a diversion, with the main push actually going straight for Belgorod. And there is also corroborating information, because Ukrainian forces have been consistently getting hit in the Voschansk region, where the Ukrainians was maybe gathering some forces over here. There is also an airstrike reported in the rear position, and also in just south of Berezovka. So I believe that this should be a two-pronged attack coming through the highway from this direction and through another highway from the other direction in a pincer to capture Belgorod, or at least bring the battle to Belgorod. And then there's reserve forces that will support the attack, and then the diversion attack going in another direction. So this will actually cause the Russians to have to deal with multiple attacks in multiple directions, and so a lot of attention have to be diverted to, instead of trying to defend Belgorod. And if the Russians try to defend only the Belgorod region, the Ukrainians can break out from the side. So that could also work. And but anyway, I don't think the Ukrainians can break through right now. They are dealing with enemy that is way too more powerful than them. So, and this commando raid or special operations trying to infiltrate into the Kursk region has failed for now. So anyway, the fighting is still ongoing. This is a proper offensive. So according to Ryba, they said that the fighting is actually still ongoing. So we shall see how this progress. Not sure if how long the Ukrainians can keep up this offensive until they are spent. So let's see. And other than that, the front line, in terms of the front lines, the next attention I would say I would bring you to is actually the Sieverts offensive, with the Russian forces continue to be pushing at Belgorod, Verkhovno-Kanyamsky, Sperne, and Rozdolivka. So I find this interesting. So we shall wait and see, to see whether this develops into anything. Over at Bakhmut, something interesting is happening also. We have the first report of Khorivka fighting for since 19 February. So not sure if this will develop or into something serious. The Ukrainian Defense Ministry also mentioned about the Russians attacking eastern part of Chasiv, so in the east of Chasiv. So the Ukrainians definitely are paying attention to this area here. The fact that they put it in their daily report shows that they are unable to hide the possibility, or maybe this attack is a bit more serious. So I don't expect the Russian forces to capture Ivanivsky. I believe they will just hold the line until the situation favors them. For example, the Russian forces pushing south or attacking into Chasiv, forcing Ukrainian forces to need to pay attention back into the defense of Chasiv, then maybe the Russians can push. So but that's it for this area here. The fighting in New York, I don't think this matters a lot. In the Adivka front, major news is the Russian capture of Nevelsky. The Ukrainians have established a strong line right now, for now, over in this Bataichi, Olivka, Tonenki line. So the Russian forces currently are unable to break through. So this corroborates what I've mentioned, that the Russian offensive have kind of choked for now. And the Ukrainian forces are also trying to push back over in the Novobakhmutivka region. But interestingly, other than the push in the flanks, the Russians are also pushing in the northern flank, with the first report of fighting towards Karamik since December. So this is since 3 months ago. So we haven't seen the Russians pushing in this direction for a long time. So this, I find it interesting, with the Ukrainians focusing in the center, the Russians go into the flanks. So we shall see how this progress. Over at the Adivka front, the battle is definitely getting interesting. Over in the Donetsk front, particularly in the Marinka sector, the Russian forces are trying to push from the north of Georgivka, probably trying to avoid fighting in the urban region. Because it's much more harder. They haven't been able to do anything about that. The same thing is happening over in the Novomihailivka region, with the Russian forces also trying to capture the tree lines to go to the rear. And if they are successful, then it will become a pincer and an envelopment and encirclement of Novomihailivka. So let's see how that progresses. Otherwise, very interesting skirmishes around the rest of the Donetsk front. Towards Vodian, towards in the south of Voleda, Ukrainians attacking Shevchenko, Russians attacking Staromayorsky. Yeah, I just find this very interesting. We will continue to monitor and watch this. And over at the Zaporizhia front, what is significant is that the Russians attacking Shevone. This is actually interesting, and also Russians attacking Kayamsky and Lukove. I'm not sure if this will develop into something big. Usually they don't, but we will wait and see. And the Robotine region has become a stalemate. So the Ukrainians are trying to attack Robotine. Russians are attacking it as well, pushing northwest of Verbove. So I don't think this is going to do much. I think this is pretty much a stalemate for now. And I don't really want to talk about Kherson because it's a boring subject. There's nothing really much happening there. So that's it. This is the conclusions. So do press the like button, subscribe, and thank you for watching. So this is the full SITREP for the day of 747 for the 11th of March. And I'll see you guys in the next update.